Now this is not just any other BS reverb plugin. Spaceblender is unlike anything you already own. It's creative, it's animated and weird in the best way possible. Now these buzzwords are cool and all, but seriously, this plugin is like completely new, and let me explain why. So I'm gonna give you the shortened version because I'm no reverb expert, but essentially 99% of all reverb plugins are based on either convolution or algorithmic reverb. And this new plugin, Spaceblender from Soundtoys, is based on neither of these. Soundtoys have once again innovated and created something completely unique when it comes to reverb. And if you're not already familiar with Soundtoys plugins, they are the same people that created my personal favorite VST, Processing Effect Rack. So you already know this new plugin is going to be gas. And the best part, this new plugin is completely free. Well, free till May 22nd. So make sure you go down in the description and grab that now. While you're at it, you might as well click on my link above it to get some free presets for once it's downloaded. Now, if you're like me, you normally download a plugin, mess around, and learn on the fly, and that's cool. But with this new plugin, I definitely recommend sticking around because this is a completely new type of reverb. It takes a bit of getting used to, it takes a bit of learning to really get the most out of it, and although it looks simple at first glance, I promise you it's really not. So let me jump in and show you how this plugin actually works. So this is Spaceblender. I'm gonna ask you to ignore all of these knobs for now and just focus on this window here. So we've got this purple little dot thing, and this basically allows us to shape the space. If I push it all the way to the start, we get a short gated reverb. If I pull it all the way into the middle, we've got this blue bit effect. Then all the way to the end is a reverse reverb. So this is a bigger space and this is a smaller space. However, messing with this big and small space does not actually affect the time. So this time knob, pretty self-explanatory. You can see the number of milliseconds that the reverb will last for. You can push sync and then it will sync to the beats in your project. Now, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with real analog delays, but when you adjust the delay, it also adjusts the pitch. And this is what this warp button does, as you're about to hear. So as you can hear, we get some pretty over-the-top pitch bending effects. I find this feature to be a lot more usable when you use the fine tuning feature. So if you hold shift, you can see you can move this ever so slightly rather than, you know, huge increments. Holding shift moves it just gently so you can get more subtle pitch bending effects like this. This color button is essentially Soundtoys' version of tone control, so by turning it up, it makes the reverb brighter, lighter, happier. If we turn it down, the opposite, darker. This texture knob is actually pretty cool. It affects the density of the reverb and it's really obvious based off, you know, looking at this waveform. If you turn it up and down, this is what it sounds like with the density all the way down. And then with the density all the way up. Basically, turning the texture up makes the reverb more full. This mod or modulation knob is essentially a modulation Soundtoys created. You can mess around with it. It sounds cool, but yeah, I don't really use this too much. Then the mix knob, obviously standard procedure, just a mix knob, changes the dry and the wet. And then lastly, we have this freeze knob. You can actually get some pretty crazy stuff with this. Let me show you how. So if I just push play and let the reverb play out, and as you can hear, I've frozen the reverb in time. Now that we've familiarized ourselves with how this plugin works, let's go ahead and get into the fun part, actually using it. So I came up with these chords the other day, and then ended up just humming a little voice note over it. And obviously my singing is absolutely atrocious. I'm not a singer, so I dragged in the vocals and added some effects. On this mixer chain, we just have auto-tune, obviously. A bit of RC retro color just to give it that vintage sort of feel. A very, very small delay and a little bit of standard reverb, just your normal supermassive vintage verb, just to create a bit more space and kind of hide some of the, you know, voice note imperfections. So with that effect chain, it sounds like this. Sounding usable, but we still need to do some more stuff to it. I then threw on Spaceblender to add some more textured, interesting reverb. I started with the short Polygeist preset, but I changed it around a little bit. I put it to 2 beats, and it's this cool reverse reverb. So with this on, here is what it sounds like. So you can really hear the reverse reverb doing its thing. You'd struggle to get this straight out the box with any other reverb plugin, so this is pretty cool. I bounced that out and added even more effects, just some subtle ones. We got an EQ, we got an effect rack preset out of my upcoming London Archives bank, which gives it this warm, wide, doubled sound, a flanges, a shaper box, and another EQ. Super simple. This is how it sounds now. And comparing that with the OG vocal with just a normal reverb, way more textured, and the tail is way more interesting. It doesn't just cut off. See, all of this space here is now filled in, whereas in the original one, it was all empty. I then added back the piano and a couple textures, and altogether we have this. So yeah man, that's how you can use a plugin in context when making your own melodies. This isn't really meant to be a plugin review, I was kind of just wanting to make you boys aware of this free little plugin deal. But if I had to give it a rating, I'd say like 7.5, because it's obviously not completely reinventing the wheel. At the end of the day, it's still a reverb, but it's something kind of new, kind of innovative, and it's not some crazy shit that you can only use for experimental beats. You can actually use this in everyday cooking up. So yeah man, the fact that it's free, fuck it, let's bump it up. 9 out of 10 man, this plugin is sick. And if you do end up going ahead and getting it, which I highly recommend you go and do that the second this video is done, I also recommend you click on the top link in the description, chuck in your email, and you'll be registered for my upcoming London Archives bank, and I'll send you a free bonus with some presets for this plugin and a few little sneak peeks of my Fit Rap bank, which is in my upcoming multi-kit. That's basically it. If you want a complete deep dive in this plugin, I definitely recommend this video by Soundtoys. They made it, so obviously they know more about it than I do. And yeah man, follow me on Instagram, subscribe if you got some value, and I'm out in a bit boys.